I feel like I can hear a dog breathing in the background.
There's a big breather right here.
What is going on?
Everybody
Zeus, how are you?
Say hi.
Is he there?
He's sitting
Yes, that's what I
right.
said. I thought I could hear the big breathe. Hey, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be in these United States. Welcome to Midday Plays Live. I'm your host, Mindy with Tiffany Mantz, another expert handicapper here today. All we do is give you free winners. I mean, that's what's been happening here lately. We had a little winner yesterday with the Bowling Green, Kent State, and the Rangers. So pretty happy with that one there. And yeah, I thought it was a good. I don't know. I thought it was a good game last night. The Rangers and the Diamondbacks. I mean, I don't think we could ask for more. It was like 7, no hit innings, and then suddenly, boom, there you go. The big dinger there off of Seawald at the end. I feel bad for the guy because you know me, I'm been a little bit of a Mariners fan, and I was kind of sad that they traded him away for a couple 170-pound guys that hit 180. I don't know why they ever did it because I think it would have been the Mariners in the playoffs instead.
Yes.
But congrats to the Rangers. It's awesome. I still always have a tear whenever I, see the guys in the victory formation there. What did you think of it all?
I watched that first 6 innings and I was like, yawn fest.
What you're saying is you don't enjoy the defense. You don't enjoy the pitching so much.
I know, but to me, I'm like, I like to see some runs. I mean, especially in those games. I mean, it just makes it more entertaining. And I think not that baseball needs more fans, but I mean, I think it's good for the young kids. Like when I have Derek watching games, like for him, he's 9. It's boring. He's like, this is dumb.
Right. But it's hard enough to get him to watch football when there's excitement. Nonetheless, 7 scoreless there, but right?
He's been. Have you noticed that he's been quizzing us? When he's asking us if we know certain football rules, and we're like, yeah, dude, we know. But it's cute that he knows and he thinks that he's going to teach us something.
Derek's quite the basketball player. That's his sport of choice. Tiffany has the height on her side of the family. Ours, not so much. I mean, Tiffany's taller than me by about 5 inches or something.
Yeah, quite a bit.
But yeah, I mean, Derek put up 12 points out of his team's 14.
They had 15, but yeah, he did score most of them. But I was laughing because again, in the Little League, all of the baskets on that whole game were scored on the same net. So when they switched sides at the half, the other team came back. I'm like, so I don't know what was happening on the other side, but maybe somebody had some saran wrap on the net we didn't see. I don't know.
Well, again, we are glad that you guys are here with us today. Again, usually what we do is give out some picks. We give out some player props. We give out some parlays, some same game parlays, kind of up to you what you want to do with this information. We're just going to go ahead and try to be a little bit more on the conservative side because we want you to take that no sweat bet free play and put that money right in your pocket. We don't want you to, maybe go after the, plus 3,000 odds. Every once in a while, we'll put one of those out. But otherwise, we try to stay around plus 300 or 400. And then, of course, use those boosters, because, hey, our goal is to increase our bankroll every single day, right? I don't care if it's $1. I don't care if it's 50 cents. I put together on points bets, my little same game parlay. It was, I was kind of laughing because none of it will go into overtime. And of course, that very last game of the day went into overtime. But again, with my free, generous $1 offer from Points Bet, would have got me $1.51. So I would have made 51 cents. And again, I don't care. I'm just there to put a little bit at a time there back into my bank.
That's why I almost laugh. Sometimes I'm more proud of the days when I'm like, I'm ahead $3 after I bet 25 games or whatever. I'm like, this is amazing. Because I don't know. It just makes me
how much fun you had the whole day watching all of this, right?
Yeah, and talking about the plus 3,000 odds or whatever. Last weekend when I was putting in my football picks, college football. So I bet 20 games or whatever. But Derek was looking at me, my boy. And when I was entering them, when I first flipped to the pay screen, it's on the parlay. And it was to win. It was like $1,500,000 or something. And he was like, "Are you going to win that?" And I was like, "No, probably not." But because of him, I did put $1 on like a 20-teamer.
Sure.
I mean, I got to trade him young, right? Exactly. And then we lost on what was the first game? East Tennessee, like 11. First one I lost. So I was like, "Well, we're not going to be rich today, sir."
We're just going to have to play these out, right? But yeah, make sure you guys like, subscribe, click on the bell to get the latest notifications, because you never want to miss all of this great conversation. When we go live every day, you can get a little bit of an insight into our crazy lives over here in the Midwest. You can see a little bit what goes into how we like to use our bankroll management. I mean, for me, I put a lot of money in every day, right? Because the only way I'm ever going to break Vegas is when I play 20 or 30 games a day, not when I play 3. Because how am I going to, get $2,000 if I'm only betting 2 games? I mean, that sort of thing. I would have to be really, really good to always hit 2 out of 2. Or whatever it may be. But I don't have to be, as good if I can hit, 12 or 13 out of 20, something like that, right? Oh, goodness. All right. Well, hey, we got some big games here tonight. We got 3 in college football. I'm going to go ahead and go over those here in a little bit. No more baseball, unfortunately. We got NBA. We're getting close to having the 3 road, 3 homes in a lot of these. You can see, we're getting up there where teams have a total of 6 games in this season. And then, of course, we have, I don't know, maybe one of these big games, at least for us, Tiffany, in the fantasy world, right? I got DeAndre Hopkins. You got yourself some Derrick Henry. I think we're going to be excited for this game here tonight and our taco salads.
That's right. Derrick Henry has been a staple on my fantasy team since
I don't know, 2008.
Mostly because he has the same name as my son, and so I immediately was like, "Oh, I'm a fan." And from then on, I get him every year if I can. So he's on my team again this year.
Right. All right. Well, hey, give us the rundown of your same game parlay here and what you got in store for us, because we won these last week for the pro games. We're looking forward to it here again today.
Yes. I was looking at this, and just like I do with my fantasy team and like King Henry does with the entire Titans offense, we're putting this all right on his shoulders, and he's going to win it for us today.
All right. I'm ready for it.
So what I'm looking at today for my same game parlay between the Steelers and the Titans, I'm taking Derrick Henry anytime scorer. Again, he is a workhorse. They get on the goal line, it's going to him. He'll get in the end zone. I'm also taking Henry at over 54.5 rushing yards. Because again, he's pretty solid 100-yard rusher. And then I'm also taking Henry over 5 yards receiving. Yes. And if I could find it, I would also take him over 5 yards passing. But he was not on the list. So I'm taking Henry for 54.5 yards rushing, 5 yards receiving, and that anytime touchdown. And then the rest of the team, I'm taking Hopkins over 45 yards receiving. Again, he's such a great player. I wish the Chiefs would have got him. So if the ball's getting thrown, he's going to be catching it. And then I also am looking, I think this is going to be a relatively higher scoring game, or at least I think that they're going to be, it's going to be an offensive game. So I'm taking each team over 0.5 touchdowns. So I think both teams are going to score. And then I also, what was that?
I said at least one.
Yes, I think that's a good bet. I mean, if it's like the Vikings, I wouldn't bet that.
Right.
And then I'm also taking Will Levis over 5 yards rushing, because I think, again, kind of younger guy, he'll be running a little bit. Pittsburgh allows the 7th most yards to receivers, and they allow the 3rd most yards per carry to running backs. So again, I think it'll be an offensive game today.
Awesome. I was really a big fan of Will Levis. coming out into the professional, into the professional ranks. I thought he actually should have been number one taken overall, because he was the only guy that averaged in like the top 25 passing for like 4 years in a row. I mean, you didn't have a lot of those other guys doing that. He always went in there and succeeded. So I really think he's going to do well. I actually like him a lot better than, Tannehill right now, but who knows, right?
But again, I know like they take,
but it was only one game.
They take those new guys and they sit them that first year because again, they got to learn, but obviously he came out and kicked ass. So I think he learned quite a bit in those first, 6-7 games, whatever. So
yes. And I'm, super hoping that we might, get some big scores out of Hopkins again. I liked both of those last week. I think that kind of won me the fantasy week where, I got those 2 60-yard touchdowns. So yeah,
it always helps.
But want to say hi to you guys. Thanks again for joining. So hi to Ash, to Sherilyn. We got our regulars from the 2 old ladies at Bet Network over here. Love it when you guys show up. And then we got our other regulars. We got B-More Dre, Baltimore Dre. What's up? You have to give us some good picks here today. Thomas Lewis is here, of course. And Latifa. Hey, what's up, Latifa? Hopefully you had a good night of work. Same thing with Ron. I think Ron works overnights too, I want to say. And he says, what? Milwaukee's trash? Are you sure? I mean, they only got beat by 20. I don't know. He says, yeah, they're trash. Until further notice, he is off. And he's like us. He said, hey, I depend on that $1 free bet from PointsBet every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I do. I keep using those no sweat bets because they give them to me for free. And I like free things. So whenever I can go ahead and, put that play in, get something I like. If it wins, awesome. If not, hey, I take my chance again on the next day. And I don't really put my money into those. We are more straight bettors here over in these parts. But yeah, I mentioned Ferner there a couple times because he got a new jump man on there. I liked it, Ferner. I like it. Got the jump man on there. But yeah, Ron sold Thomas Lewis there on the Titans. And yeah, Ron knows his team.
And that line has changed since I last checked my app because they're at +3 on MGM right now. They were 2.5 like an hour and a half ago.
Okay, nice. All right, there you go. All right, so did pretty well in hockey yesterday. Won my premiums that were out there on Tony'sPicks.com. That's where you guys need to go ahead and find us. Tiffany, what do you have at Tony's Picks today? Do you remember?
I do have 3 picks. I've got a 3-pack of hockey. Again, I don't really have anything there yet because I almost missed the show because I was busy and I was like, it was 11:59. I was like, crap.
Hey, it's showtime.
Because sometimes I'm like, I look at the clock, I'm like, oh, I got 45 minutes, but then I'm like, ooh, that goes fast. But I'm gonna do a 3-pack of hockey, and then I'm gonna do a best bet for my football game tonight too. If you want to know who I'm gonna take in this football game,
I'm on. Gotcha. So Latifa says, hey, I want some Waffle House. Do you have Waffle House there in New Jersey? I mean, we don't have any here locally. So we have to go to like Kansas City. So like when we go to Worlds of Fun, we hit the Waffle House, across the street. Or if we go to a concert at Sandstone, then we're going to hit the Waffle House across the street. But that's about the only place that we can hit it. But I love all the greasiness there at that place. I tell you, it's amazing. Dre finally gave us his plays. He says, I like the Red Wings tonight, the Leafs, and the Oilers. Write it down. Do it, everyone. Take your screenshot. You don't want to miss out on any of these. Right? All right. Oh, so Latifa said, I got to go over to Delaware. How far is Delaware? Probably like what, 20 minutes? I mean, everything's pretty close around there.
That's what we don't understand in the Midwest. I'm like, that probably is like 2 blocks. But I don't even know. Like when you drive across Nebraska, it takes you a full day.
So no Waffle House for Dre, no Waffle House for Mr. Lewis. No, well, I mean, there is a Waffle House in the Midwest. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's in Kansas City.
Depends on your version of the Midwest. Because I think of like Tornado Alley as the Midwest, and that's where we are.
That doesn't, like we think of, right, the Dakotas, the Nebraskas, the Iowas, the Kansas, the Missouris, right? Oklahoma, Texas.
That's what I think of. Tornado Alley is. But I always forget they consider like Ohio and stuff Midwest as well. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think that Detroit is considered to be kind of Midwest-ish, right? Maybe not. Or is it too far to the coast, I guess?
I don't know. I don't know what the cutoff is. I think it's West Virginia.
Virginia.
I think it's probably, I don't know. Is it the Mississippi River? I don't know.
It could be. Huh. Yeah, maybe. Like, I feel like Illinois is stretching it.
I know, because I always think of Chicago, and that's like a big city. So I don't think of that as being like the Midwest. I think of that as being smaller.
But all right, anyway. So get over to Tony'sPicks.com.
I digress.
Code TonyT at checkout when you get Tiffany's pick packages there tonight, because you don't want to miss out on these winners. And then for me, we're just going to go ahead and do a 3-game parlay today at FanDuel. They're offering something that's pretty cool here for me, a 50% parlay boost on FanDuel. I'm just going to go ahead and give you these college football picks here tonight. Again, we won it yesterday, so looking forward to it. We're on a big streak. I think I've only lost 1 out of the last 20 with these alternate lines, so maybe I'm cheating a little bit.
Knock on wood.
But we're going to take a look at TCU and Texas Tech. That's going to be the first one. I have TCU here with the 51.5% chance of winning this. They win this here by 0.39. So I am going to go ahead and take TCU. I'm going to take the +3 here today. If I kind of look at where they've been in like opponents, they both got beat by Kansas State. But if we take a look at their opponent, which was BYU, TCU beat BYU by 33. Texas Tech lost by 13. Texas Tech quarterback is kind of on the mend here as well. So I will be taking TCU there for my first one. And then next up, we'll go ahead and take a look at Wake Forest and Duke. This one here, Duke is favored by 6.5. Our modeling gives Duke a 76.8% chance of winning here this Thursday night. And we have them winning by 10.36 on this one. So I feel okay with just going ahead and taking Duke at a -110 here, -6.5 odds. Up to you if you want to do something a little bit different, but I have them covering almost by 5 points. Like Ron says, hey, maybe, take a little bit of a Duke at -2.5, something like that, to give yourself a little bit of leeway. Something like that would also be okay. And then also he said, TCU money line, agree with that. Dre said, hey, also like Duke here tonight. And if we take a look at what Duke has done, they are 4-0 versus those below average teams, right? I kind of feel like Wake Forest is that. Leonard is finally not on the injury list. Finally. So maybe we could go ahead and have him move around a little bit better. And the Blue Devils have the 31st rank defense there as well. Can't wait for them in college basketball. Yeah, we have to wait a little bit. But what do we got? That comes up here pretty soon. All right, and then lastly tonight we have South Alabama versus Troy. Troy is -4.5 here at home. Give them a 57.2% chance of winning, but I only have them winning by 2.62 points here. So on this one, again, it's kind of like what happened yesterday, right? We talked about that last game with Kent State and Akron, right? We talked about that yesterday where, hey, I said, Akron's, I don't have them covering by the points, but I have them winning this one by 53%. So I'm going to take that. And if you would have taken Kent State at the +4.5, you would actually have covered by the spread. So this is kind of one of those other ones. Troy is -4.5. I'm just going to go ahead and take Troy here on the money line. Again, have them winning by 2.62, but the better chance, talent and coaching wise, to go ahead and get this done. And then also, it's one of those, like I said, if you want to take South Alabama plus the points, I don't think that's necessarily a bad deal either. But I prefer Troy in this situation, especially because Troy has not given up more than 13 points allowed against. And then also they won 5 straight and scored at least 27 in their wins there as well. Okay, so like Ferner said, hey, I took South Alabama +6 this morning. I mean, like, again, I think that's great. I think that's a good spot where you're in, that's for sure. But yeah, if I go ahead and I use my 50% parlay boost at FanDuel, I take those 419 odds, I take them up to 628, and my $20 pays for tonight's dinner and drinks, 125.76. So that's kind of how I look at this one here tonight. So hopefully you guys feel good about those picks. Otherwise, maybe if you just bet a couple straight up, something like that, kind of all up to you how you'd like to play it. But again, if I'm looking at some games here that I really like and I can get some boosters, you can maybe even just play them all on the money line, something like that, or give yourself a little bit of extra points. Why not? It's kind of up to you how you want to go ahead and get this done. But we got a couple more comments for you, a couple more picks from our chat, the most sophisticated chat that you can find around. Ron says, hey, I'm taking the Pistons +10 against the Pelicans. I mean, Pelicans were down there for a while yesterday, and then here they come roaring back. Thomas Lewis said, yeah, definitely take Troy. That's for sure. Oh, and then if Brandon Ingram plays, take the Pelicans. Okay, so now I'm confused, right? Or just, like you said, just play all games, no overtime. Exactly. That's what we do. Because, yeah, I think it sounds like Ron's waiting for injury news on if he's going to take the Detroit Pistons or he's going to take the Pelicans. So, yeah, it could be one of those two that you may say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and take the Pistons at +10, maybe. Or you could do it the other way. I'm going to take the Pelicans. And then if injury news works out, then I'm going to take the Pistons. I mean, you can maybe try to kind of middle that, but B Moore says, hey, I'm on the Pelicans. Let's just do that. And then, of course, they are good to go. Well, which one's good to go? Which one? But yeah, Latifa said, hey, Minnesota and who are her New Jersey Devils over 6.5, but take it over 6. Give yourself a little bit of leeway there and take a push, perhaps. But I know Tiffany played no shootouts yesterday in hockey. So she parlayed everything, no shootouts yesterday with no shootouts today. So you passed everything yesterday. So you're still looking good there.
Yeah. So 16 total games. So we'll see what happens today.
She said, it's okay if I get overtime. You just got to score quick. Like is what happened last night.
I looked it up, and if I remember, it said last year there were 250 games that went to overtime and only like 102 of the 250 that went to shootout. So
you're just narrowing your odds down.
I was like, well, I don't know. So I'm like trying to figure out, I'm like, how many were per day? That's what I need to go back and figure out. Like how many games or how many days of hockey did we have? And then I'll see how many per day. Because I think it's a decent bet. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so far it's like 8 and 12 to the overtime, right? So actually the overtime happens more frequently. But again, I feel like that is just kind of where we are in the whole scheme of things. But I also did not take a look at how many of those finished in a shootout, right? So it's probably also another smaller percentage there. But if you're looking at just playing the whole slate, with no overtime for the NBA, it's only been 3 out of I think I want to say, what is it? It started on the 24th. So about 9 or 10 games played thus far. It's only been 3 that out of your whole slate of games for the day that it has gone to overtime. So if you're hitting at 75%, no overtime, go ahead. And that's another one of those fun little parlays you can play, those big money lines. Because, the odds aren't great. They're minus, 2,900, something like that. But if you put a few together, you can come out and make a little bit of plus money, plus 110, something like that. And if I can hit at 75% every day, I'm going to make that bet. So I will be on those as well. And Ron said, hey, we're going to be hitting some same game parlays tonight. I love it. I want to
say hi to Darren. Lots of same game parlays too. But I was like, yeah, maybe I need to do some research on the no shootout thing too, because I'm like, maybe we look at and see like how many times those minus 5,000s come in versus how many times the minus 2,500s come in or whatever. And, see if we can maybe find a nice little bucket right there too.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we do with college basketball. We go ahead and we play everything minus 2,000 every day. Because again, why don't I take a little bit of free money? I mean, if you're favored by, say, 15 points, a lot of times you'll lose those. But if it's usually 20 or more, it's only like once or twice a whole year that ever happens.
Yeah.
So again, why not just skim a little bit of cash every day from Vegas? I mean, it all adds up here over time. And Latifah says, take the LA Kings against Ottawa only because she hates Ottawa.
Those are the
There's no real scientific method behind that pick. It's just that she hates them, and so we're just not doing it. But yeah, I can't wait to see Tiffany's plays here tonight for the NHL. We'll discuss that later. But again, you can pick up hers. I will also be in on the NHL. We'll be in on maybe some pro football here today. All right. And Ferner said, yeah, I love that Kings money line. I forgot all about that one. So glad Latifah went ahead and brought it up. B-More says, hey, Kings money line. So do we have like a chat consensus on that? I think there might be.
I think so.
I think so as well. All right, you guys. Well, we are done for today. Hopefully things go well for you tonight. I wish you great fortune. Go have some Waffle House if you can find it somewhere. I'm just having what do we call it? Like chicken and green chilies today. That's my meal. From La Mesa. It's a leftover. Oh. Your mom bought me dinner. Ha ha ha.
Rude. He owes me some dinner then.
That's right. Exactly. She's like, hey, I'm out some La Mesa. And I said, that sounds amazing. I'll have some. She wanted to try the chicken and green chilies. So I was like, yes, I'll get it and try it.
Yeah, it sounds delicious. All their stuff's good. It's a little local restaurant, but the best thing there is the margaritas. So I prefer to eat there in person.
And the margaritas are as big as Tiffany's head. And I'm not kidding. It's like the margarita's this big. So it is a nice place to be. And we appreciate Latifah as well. Thank you guys again for stopping in and seeing us today. Come back tomorrow. We'll be here at the same time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Again, like, subscribe, click on the bell. Don't miss us again tomorrow because we're going to come back and we'll be excited about our wins. So looking forward to you guys showing me your bet slips here. We'll see you guys later. Have a good day, guys.